organization. We're made up of 56 plus member organizations that came together to form the Homeless Coalition. And so we represent the macro level initiatives of all of our member organizations. And so I want to start by asking the room, what is the biggest reason that we have homelessness? Not just in Cincinnati, but in Hamilton County and all over. So the lack of affordable housing. So that's exactly right. So we're short 40,000 units of affordable housing in Hamilton County. 26,000 of those are in the city of Cincinnati alone. So a lot of the work that we do goes around not just creating new affordable housing, but also sustaining the existing affordable housing and preserving affordable housing. So to do that, we're working through two initiatives. One is the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Some of you might know that recently the city of Cincinnati, we were able to get them to pass an Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Currently, there's only about $600,000 in that trust fund, and the city is not showing initiative on putting more money in it. We would like to see it funded at between $50 and $100 million a year. $600,000 is enough to create about 6 units of housing, about $100,000 per new unit. And so this trust fund that we're working to fund is going to be used for not only the creation of new affordable housing, but also to sustain the existing affordable housing. So people would fill out like an RFP, and developers would get granted money from that fund to do one of those two things. So how do we get it funded is the big question right now. And I think we've got the answer to that. So on October 2nd, we're organizing a march, and we're trying to get 500 people to City Hall for their evening meeting to speak and say, fund the Affordable Housing Trust Fund at $50 to $100 million a year. So I've got some flyers for this. And so in trying to get 500 people, we want 75% of the folks that show up to be people experiencing the housing shortage problem. And so to do that, we've been having meetings at every shelter in Cincinnati to try and talk to folks. We've been at soup kitchens and food pantries. We've been working with the newly formed citywide tenants association. So individually, we work with a lot of different buildings to try and save the properties. But a new thing that we're working on is the citywide tenants association. So bringing all of these different buildings together to form one collective citywide tenants association that could advocate for the increase in preservation of affordable housing in Cincinnati. We're also working with any ad hoc supporters, our member organizations. We're working with students to try and get as many people to this march on October 2nd as we can with the message of we need funding for affordable housing. So the city has said that they're interested in doing something around affordable housing. Well, we want to see it. So hopefully this will add some pressure to it. So if that does not work, on Wednesday, October 2nd is when we'll be kicking off a ballot initiative in which we'll be trying to collect signatures to get funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund on the ballot. And if it gets voted through, then we've got to come up with the money one way or another. So in Baltimore, which is where we're kind of modeling our approach off of, they began collecting signatures to get it on the ballot, and the city decided that they wanted to decide where the money was coming from. And so they kind of backpedaled and said, okay, we'll talk. We'll get it funded at the amount that you're asking for, but we just get to decide where the money comes from. And then they ended up getting everything that they had asked for.
Where did you say this?
Baltimore.
In Baltimore. So they've got a funded affordable housing trust fund in Baltimore right now. The other way we're working to preserve existing affordable housing is through anti-displacement legislation. We've got legislation drafted the city council has, and we're working with them to try and get it passed through. It includes stuff like pay to stay, so a landlord cannot reject your rent and turn around and evict you, because currently right now it's legal for a landlord to reject your rent and then file eviction for non-payment of rent. It also includes stuff like, basically, housing court right now is called by many people eviction court, because as soon as you get into eviction court, you're pretty much going to walk away with an eviction. So another thing that we're looking at is having a panel of people that would act as a buffer between a landlord filing eviction and eviction court. So we're looking at a panel of people that would be made up of both landlords and renters that would basically look at a case and decide if it's strong enough to go to eviction court. And they would have a set criteria that they would agree upon that's basic stuff. So like, for example, If a person is falling behind on rent, that might not be severe enough to go ahead onto eviction court. Maybe that's something that gets referred back to the landlord, and they're told to work it out between the tenant and you. Whereas if somebody's repeatedly setting their unit on fire and is a danger to other people in the building, maybe that is something that gets put on eviction. So with that,